Okay, hello, how are you? I hope everyone is well. I hope that the virus hasn't affected you and you're ready to start another session here at HackWeek. My name is Eleftheria and I'm from Greece, and we are going to talk about how to build your habits and manage your time. So, first of all, a little bit about myself. I think that the internet is a bit slow. Okay, so I am an app developer and I've been working as an app developer for the last 3 years or so. I'm also a content creator, which means that I love to create videos, articles, and then I always try to publish them. And I'm also a master's student. I'm doing my master's, which is focused on graphical arts and multimedia, so UX and UI stuff. You can connect with me on the social media that you see. You can send me an email or whatever if you have any question. I'm very open and I'm very active on Twitter, so you can find me really freely there. Without further ado, let's get started. And the first thing that we are going to see is my coding journey, how I started to code and the things that I learned, all the difficulties, but also all the beautiful things that I learned in that process and that I'm still learning. And the second thing that we are going to see is tips and techniques of habit formation. So how to form a habit, why it's important to form a habit. And last but not least, the third part is going to be dealing with frustration and stress. So, how did I start it? I graduated from a polytechnical university, which means it was a 5 years polytechnical university. I did a lot of maths, a lot of physics, but not a lot of coding, and my passion was more towards to code. So as soon as I graduated, I was 23 years old, and I said from Greece, which I'm currently in, I'm going to do an internship in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. I went there and I started working as a front-end developer. It was nice, but after that internship was done, my plan was to go back to my country and find a job there. Now, the problem was that I was looking for jobs, and all the jobs were asking for so many things, like you have to know the X, Y, and Z things, and they were asking so many things, and my internship was going well, but I was not learning all that stuff that the other companies were asking for. And I was thinking that I have to do something about that. Now, every morning back then and still now, I am reading articles, and I'm usually reading articles through Medium. So one day I found an article. It was written by Alexander Calway, and he was mentioning 100 days of code. So this is a challenge. Maybe some of you already know that thing, but it's a challenge for 100 days, and in this article he was describing all the benefits of taking part in it. And the benefits were to learn to be more good at what you're doing, like build a portfolio, expand your knowledge, expand your skills, and of course I was interested in all of these things. So the next thing I knew was, heck yeah, challenge accepted, let's do that. Now, to be a little bit more specific, the rules of this challenge were to code for at least 1 hour every day for 100 days, and then you should take whatever you had coded and upload it on GitHub. That would really help to build a portfolio, which was awesome in my case because I didn't have a portfolio and everyone was asking for one. The next thing was to go in Twitter and share what you did there, maybe share a link, and also encourage other people either to take part in this challenge or give feedback for their project as feedback for your project. At first, I have to admit that I was a little bit hesitated of using Twitter, but then and still now I'm really using it and I really like it, and we will go back to that in a bit. So that was the challenge. Now, what did I code during this challenge, and what exactly was my goal? as I was using Twitter more and more, people were asking me these questions like, what do you code and what do you like to code and how can I start and where can I find some sources to go? And I said that, there are so many things, there are really so many things, and the good thing is that most of those things, most of those things are also free. So for me, some sources to learn is some online educational platforms, and here I mean things such as Udemy, Udacity, FreeCodeCamp, Coursera, Skillshare, and there are a lot more. There is YouTube, where you can find a plethora of good videos, like good content. Either you are more advanced or beginner, you can always find something on YouTube. There are online communities like Discord channels, Slack channels. There is of course Stack Overflow, because there are some other coding challenges, not only 100 days of code that I mentioned, but challenges like daily CSS images or JavaScript 30 or daily UI, that these challenges, through your email, they send you either an article or a link, so you get the opportunity to learn even more and code even more, because the important thing is to start doing things and start building something. And last but not least, magazines and books. Sometimes we forget about books because we are living in a digital world, but trust me, through books you get a very good knowledge and a deep knowledge into things. Now, as for the inspiration, so as for the question, but yeah, what should I code? I can't find anything. Again, there are so many things. You can read blogs, browse different forums, and follow different publications through media or other online platforms. Follow your favorite developers on social media, like stalk them on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and of course go to meetups, attend to conferences, and attend to webinars as you're doing right now. It's really important, and it will give you the inspiration to continue doing what you are doing. Now, what did I learn through, or what I wanted to learn? What was my path? The first thing that I wanted to do was to be a rock star at HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And I'm using the word here rockstar because I was seeing it everywhere. Like everyone was asking for a rock star in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The next thing that I wanted to do is to learn something a little bit more cool, like Flexbox, Less, SAS, Bootstrap, and some more modern technologies. And the other thing was to stop being afraid of the developer tools and the console, because I was seeing all the other developers at work that they were using the developers tools, and I didn't know what was that. I was hearing from other developers again that they were saying, hey, it's really important, you can find a lot of stuff, but I was just seeing different tabs and I couldn't understand what they were. So my focus was also there. Now, the last thing that I wanted to do was to learn a framework, and I started working with AngularJS. I have to admit now that that was not the best option that I could have done. I don't know if you guys are familiar with AngularJS, but it's going to be deprecated, so no one is going to use that. Anyway, and the other thing that I learned was a data visualization library. I started with D3GS, and actually that was a nice thing that I learned because it led to my first freelancing jobs. So it was really great. Okay, so after that, I tried to build some things, and as I said, the first thing that I wanted to learn was HTML and CSS. So I took part in another challenge called Daily CSS Images, and for 50 days I was getting an email with a theme and I had to code something, and these are the results. At first my sketches or my code was very simple because I didn't know a lot of CSS properties, but then I started using it more and more, and now everything that you see is only built with CSS and HTML. So I think that the last days were really good and I did some very beautiful things. At least this is my opinion. Now, the next thing was to start using JavaScript a little bit more, and I was using at that time FreeCodeCamp. I hope that you are familiar with FreeCodeCamp. It's a free online source to learn, and one of the challenges that I had to do was to build a game using JavaScript, and that was the tic-tac-toe game. And again, here is another game that I built, which is the Simon Says game. And after that, I started working a little bit more with AngularJS and a little bit more with J3JS. As I was getting more familiar with these technologies, I was trying to mix it up to build something a little bit more complicated, and I have to say that things were going good. Now, one of the last challenges that I did was the daily UI, and again, that challenge was for 100 days. The focus of this challenge was not only on coding, but also in UX and UI design, because I've also started doing my master's, which was about designing, so I thought I could combine these two things. And now on the screen you can see the last project that I did for the daily UI, and it was to recreate actually their page, their website, and I did everything on a mobile phone, and I think that the final result is pretty good. And let's continue a little bit. So as you may have understood, I mentioned some other challenges because I don't know what is it about me, but I like doing challenges. And the first time that I started doing them, and the first one that I ever did, was 100 Days of Code. And if you notice the date, it's just one day before 2017. I mean, other people that day are out, they are partying, they're having fun, but me, no, I was really focused on my studies and I knew I wanted to do. Also, if you notice, like daily CSS images, this is on Valentine's Day, so I guess I didn't have anything better to do. Anyway, I kept coding and I kept doing other challenges and more and more and more. Now, as for the last one, which is the one with the YouTube, I did that also for 100 days, and a lot of people ask me like, what is this challenge all about? And in this challenge for 100 days, I was uploading videos on YouTube, and the theme of this video was like educational. I was trying to build things with CSS, maybe some JavaScript, and it was a little bit hard to do that for 100 days, but I think that it was like a nice experience. And the last thing that I did as for challenges concerned was the daily UI. Now, I also get quite often the question of what inspires me and what motivates me to continue doing what I'm doing, or to continue coding and to continue learning. And for me, it is just, like the need of getting better. And I honestly believe that if you want to achieve something, you just have to try a lot, you have to put a lot of practice, but in the end, you will do it. And I get it that not for everyone it's the same. Maybe some people want to get a promotion, so they have to work a little bit more or study a little bit more. Some other people maybe want to support their family financially a little bit more, so again they have to do some extra things. So passion and motivation, it can be different from person to person, but again, deep down, if you want to achieve something, you can do it. Just trust yourself. And now, as for what did I gain doing all of these challenges, was that I learned to be more optimistic and grateful for the things that I have done, but also for the people that I have near me. Because when somebody says, hey, let's go out for a coffee, for a drink, for a food, and you say, no, I'm sorry, I have to code, then things aren't always the best. So people near you also have to be a little bit more calm towards you. I met a lot of people with different backgrounds and different aspirations. I started believing in myself more and more. I believe that I became better at time management, which is something that we will talk in a bit again. And also another passion of mine, except of coding and doing my job, is also traveling. And believe it or not, through coding and through being better at my job, I also got several opportunities of traveling. So again, this is something that it may not be for everyone. Maybe you're not interested about traveling, but for me it really was a great opportunity. I went to conferences, I went to different countries just for my job, so it was really an amazing experience. And now for the question if I would recommend this challenge to somebody else. The short answer is yes, of course, yes. If you want to achieve something, if you want to be better at something, if you want to build a portfolio, meet people, do different things that you normally do, then yes, take part in a challenge and don't just wait for tomorrow, for the next day. Just start doing things now. Believe in yourself and trust me, you can do it. Okay, that was my coding journey, and now we will continue with the next part, which is tips and techniques of habit formation. I hope that you are all with me, and let's start our, let's say, journey here. I will start with a quote that I really like. It's coming from Art Williams, and it says, "I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, I'm telling you it's going to be worth it." And to be honest, I'm not telling you coding is easy, studying it's easy. No, it's not like that. But I'm telling you that in the end, it's going to be worth it. You are going to do the things that you enjoy to do, and that will give you fulfillment in your life. Now let's start talking a little bit more about how to form a habit. And the first thing that you have to know when you're trying to do something is that you will feel and you will experience the resistance. The resistance is always there and it always gets you. Like, try to do something good, let's say not coding, but let's say that you're trying to diet or to work out, and resistance will always be there. Like a cookie will be there, a hamburger will be there, your friends calling you to go out instead of doing a workout will be there. So acknowledge that there is resistance, but then move forward. And let's talk also a little bit about the power of limits. Now, I will give you some rules and then we will expand a little bit more into that. So don't spread your efforts around and focus only on one thing at a time. Try for consistency over volume. And it's better to have just a little free time rather than too much. What I mean by these rules is, let's say that you have a big project to do and you have also a lot of free time. Don't just say that I will start like the next day, and then the next day will come and you will say, hey, I'm going to start this afternoon, and then the afternoon will be there and you will say, oh, I'm going out with my friends because I have some more days to do that. No, start doing now. And when we say try for consistency over volume, we mean, again, for this big project that you have to do, say I will start, maybe let's say it's a website and you have to build it. Say I will do today on Monday the login and the register, and then on Tuesday I will do like the header and the menu. So make a plan, stick to that plan, start working on that plan, and be really focused on the things that you have to do each day. Don't just wait for last minute. Start doing things now and always have a plan in your mind. And of course you cannot finish everything in just one day, but you can obviously start doing things. Now also, as humans, we are really visual, and this image, by the way, is from when I was doing 100 days of code, and that's how my GitHub was look like. Now we have to track progress visually, and at first I wasn't really into that rule, but then I became more and more into that. What I mean is, like, try to keep a calendar, notebook, or a log, something, and write there everything that you want to do and be very specific about them. A question that I get a lot is, okay, but where should I write stuff, because every time I write something and then I forgot about it, or like I write 20 things and of course I cannot do those 20 things. And my answer to those things is like, first of all, write somewhere that you can see it every time. So for me personally, this is pen and paper, because I can always have it with me. But I get it for some other people, maybe it's an app in their phone, maybe it can be an application or a software in their laptop, but it has to be something that it's really convenient for you, so you can always see it and you can always have it with you. And then for the other question, like, of course, do not write 20 things, because you cannot do 20 things at a time. Write like 5-10 things that you know, like be realistic, that you know that you can achieve in a day. And what I personally do is that, again, I will have a pen and paper and I will write the things that I want to achieve in a day. Sometimes I plan a little bit more, so maybe it's going to be for a week. But if I have other plans which are like bigger plans, then I will keep them in Trello in my laptop, so I can have them always with me and I don't forget about them. But be really, really specific about the things that you want, write them down and just do them. Okay, and now some examples that I think that they will help you a little bit more is to stay away from toxic environment. And what we mean by that is, again, if you're dieting, don't keep cookies near you, don't keep unhealthy food near you, instead keep only healthy options. Or if you know that you are getting distracted from your phone, really keep it away, like really keep it away. It doesn't matter if your friends or your family like lose you for 1 hour, it's not such a big deal. At first it's going to be a little bit difficult to live without your phone, but trust me, you have to do it. You will be a lot more concentrated. And then the next thing is that make the unwanted behavior difficult to be performed, whereas the behavior that you want, make it easy to be performed. So make it so super small that you can't deny it. Say that every night, for example, I will do yoga for 5 minutes. If it's 5 minutes, you will always have the time to do so. Or say that I will go for a run for 15 minutes around the block where I live. It's something so small that you can really do it. And if you're interested about coding, then have everything set up and have everything prepared for your next day, so you won't have an excuse and things won't take much time. You will just start doing things. Some really important things is that you should really block the notifications, either from your phone, your laptop, your PC. Just block all the notifications. You don't need them, trust me. And delete some distraction apps, some apps that are distracting you. Like, for example, you could try to delete Facebook or Instagram. Like, I'm not telling you to do that, but it would be nice if you could just delete them from your phone. Not entirely delete your profile, but do like some small actions that they will really help you, and you will see the benefits of that. Now, about the habit like has 3 stages. The first one is the trigger, then the routine, and last but not least, the reward. You want that to be like a loop, and actually like an infinitive loop. So you want always to start from somewhere. This is going to be your trigger. For example, every morning after you brush your teeth, you will do that thing, and that will be your trigger. And then it's the routine, how you will continue doing the same thing over and over again as the days are passing. And last but not least, the reward, which is like the achievement. You did something and now you see the results and you like those results, and that's why you want to continue doing those beautiful things that you are doing. Some rules that we see when we are trying to build habits is that it's more important to go from something general to something more specific. So if you have a big goal in your life, just make it as a task, subtask it, like break it through small, simple steps. So from general, try to make it really small, and work each time through those small steps until you finally build something bigger and until you finally conquer your goal. Also, the more you define what you really want to achieve, the easiest it's going to be for you to achieve it. So again, be really, really specific and ruthless about what you want to achieve. The other thing is that it's a keystone habit, as we usually call it, which is it's the development of multiple good habits. If you start seeing good results, if you're feeling those good results, you will not have to go back to your old habits. So really keep your mind there, and also make the keystone habit easy to maintain over time. So that's why I said before, make it so small that you cannot say no. You have to do it and you want to do it. Now, the thing is that a lot of people will say, hey, all those things that you're saying are great, but I don't have the time. Well, trust me, you do have the time. We all have 24 hours in our day, right? We all have 24 hours. The thing is how we are using those 24 hours. Some tips that I hope that they will help you through your day and to find more time is being really ruthless about what you want to do, and think about what gives value in your everyday life. Personally, I want to learn so many things, I want to do so many stuff, but I have to be ruthless and say, hey, I want this and this and this because they will help me more achieve those and those goals. So be really specific and be really, really ruthless. And if you want to make all those things to stick into your daily life, you have to change only one or two things at a time. You cannot change everything. Maybe yes, you want to change your career, maybe you want to change your diet, maybe you want, I don't know what else, but change only maximum two things at a time. And that's why like New Year's resolution don't really work, because you say that you will change so many things, but your mind doesn't have the time to process all those things. So keep it really simple. Make it so small that you cannot say no. So every day you are working through those goals. And I always start from something small, and from there you can build it up and do more stuff. And last but not least, like have a minimum standard, and from there go up. Another quote that I really like, that it's coming from Peggy Noonan, says part of courage is simply consistency. If you see something good, if you see that something is working, then really stick to that and do it more and more and more. And here I write 3 rules, not exactly rules, but like 3 tips that I think that they are not so usual and you don't see them very often. The first one is keep a note to-do list. So in that list you will write all the things that you shouldn't do. For example, you shouldn't watch Netflix more than 2 hours a day. You shouldn't play video games for more like 1 hour a day. I mean, these are just examples, but keep that note to-do list in front of you all the time, so you're not forgetting the things that you shouldn't supposed to do. That's something that's really helped me. And then another thing is analyze your day, and again, be really ruthless. Track everything, write everything down. It will take you some time, but you will see that you're doing things that takes up so much time. And if you really erase those things, you will see that you actually have time. And last but not least, if you don't have something, imitate it. What I mean by that is, I will give you an example. Let's say that you want to get better at English, at speaking English, but you don't have a lot of friends who speak English. That's okay. Try to find online communities. I'm sure that there are a bunch of them, and go there and start speaking English. You don't have friends who speak English? It's okay. Find them online. There are always solutions. You just have to want something really bad and you will achieve it. Let's continue with another quote that I really like, and it's coming from Steve Jobs. It says great things in business are never done by one person, they are done by a team of people. Keep that in mind. Commit publicly to something, and in that way you will afraid that if you don't do it, the other people will judge you or they will talk about you. Probably, maybe they won't even notice that you drop out of something. For example, if you are on the challenge 100 days of code and you are tweeting about it, if one day you don't tweet about it, maybe only your friends will notice it, maybe not even them because they don't have Twitter. So, you get it. You have to do it because you said you will do it and you committed to it publicly, and this is all nice and good. And you will afraid of not committing to that, but eventually you will do it. And also connect with people, not because you have to, but because you want to, because they will give you inspiration and they will help you do things that otherwise you wouldn't do. Don't ignore situations or people. Don't say that I will go to that meetup the next time, I will go to that webinar the next time, I will take part in this HackWeek the next time. No, start doing things now, today. And the more you do, the more you will want to do. Something else that might help you is doing two opposite things at a time. This is also the yin-yang principle. If you want to learn, let's say, JavaScript and Python, maybe this is a little bit tricky because these languages are quite similar. So the yin-yang principle says do two opposite things. Do maybe JavaScript and play the guitar, and then on another time go with Python and cooking. Or if you want to focus more on coding, then do like JavaScript and Java, which are two completely different things, but just don't go to two pretty similar things over time, because your mind can't really process all the differences and the similarities so easily. And the other thing is some time concepts. The first one is called the Pomodoro technique, and again, I'm not really sure how many of you are familiar with this technique, but it says like go really hard for 20 or 25 minutes, like really hard, don't get distracted, don't get breaks, and then just take a 5-minute breaks and repeat that cycle as many times as you can. So the goal here is to be extremely focused for a short period of time, and then in that break do whatever you want, but also the break should be a small one. This is something that really helped me also. And the other thing is the Pareto's principle. This is not so much a time concept, it's a little bit different. Again, some of you may already know that, but it says that 80% of your output is coming from the 20% of your input. This will help you if you understand it and try to analyze it. It will help you understand on what you should focus more, and eventually you will get it. So what am I doing correctly, and how can I maximize that in order to get something more and in order to see better results? Okay, now let's continue with the third and last part of this session, which is dealing with frustration and stress, as I think it's something that everybody will feel from time to time, and it's okay. Again, I will start with a quote. Maybe this is one of my favorites, that says, "It is not the strongest of the species that survive, not the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change." So keep the word here, responsive. And let's start with dealing. Through our lives, we have to deal with a lot of stuff. Sometimes we have to deal with our colleagues, with work, with a bunch of different things. If you have problems at work, think, is it only you? Do other people have the same problems as you do? And if they have, try to speak to someone. If it's possible to talk to your boss, then it's fine. But try to find maybe ex-colleagues and see if they had like similar problems. To track them, you can use LinkedIn. Maybe you have a good friend at work, talk to them, talk with HR if you have any problem. And if you have something and you cannot find a solution, then just really go away. The most important thing is your mental health, and I'm pretty sure you will be able to find something good soon. The other thing is that sometimes people are afraid that they are not smart enough, they are not good enough, but in reality they are as good as the other people around them. So if it's something that really troubles you, then like some things that you could do is learn how other people started their careers. And for example, I just told you mine. Know that coding is complex and it's hard, and everyone struggles, and sometimes it's not only about coding, but it's about other stuff as well. Like, remember about your first job, or if you're looking for your first job, then know that your boss probably isn't going to hire you or hasn't hired you because you have all those beautiful skills, but maybe they saw something in you like communication, humor, empathy, and these kind of things that really led them to hire you. And also another thing that usually young people feel is that they have to learn a lot of things, but they don't know how they will do it. They see like different applications and everyone is asking so many things. Some tips that I believe will help you is, instead of just watching tutorials, start building projects and make those projects available for everyone. So upload them on GitHub or on any other platform, but make them available and really start doing projects. If you don't find anything to build, then ask your friends or family if they want them something for you to build. Make an internship or volunteer your time somewhere. It will really help you, and also it will look really cool in your resume. And last but not least, have an updated portfolio, because maybe you've done like a lot of beautiful things, but no one will see them if you haven't updated that portfolio. And another thing is that create a plan and work on that plan. For example, again, my plan was to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And then I subtasked that. I said, first, I'm going to learn HTML and CSS. And how am I going to do that? By taking part in a challenge, really sticking to that challenge, and practicing a lot. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And I know that this is something that I was afraid a lot. I don't know why I had that bad feeling, but I was afraid a lot. Now I stopped doing that. If I have something, I will upload it and I will ask for feedback. I will ask for a review, because there is no point in afraid of showing your projects. Like, really, there is no point. Just put it out there. And an extra tip here is, if you are watching tutorials or if you're listening podcasts, try to speed it up like a 2x speed. At first, it will take some time to adjust, but eventually you will do it. A lot of people actually are using that. I didn't know about that. I just recently learned it, and I think it's something like really cool that you can easily do. Now, another big thing, and we're going to close with that, is dealing actually with yourself. Because believe it or not, the biggest obstacle sometimes is actually ourselves. Don't judge yourself too hard. It's okay to fail. It's okay to change plan. Remember that we all stuck. We all fail. Coding, it's not easy. If it was, everyone would do that. And it's better sometimes to loosen up the rules and take some time, but then really go back and go hard. The other thing is that remember the simple stuff. So take care of yourself, work out, shower, sleep, eat healthy food, and don't act like there is something wrong with you, because really there is nothing wrong with you. And even if you're coming from a different background, even if you didn't study something related to coding, it doesn't matter. Just keep all those good things that you used to have and apply them to your new work. And that was it by me, guys. I hope that you liked that session and feel like really free to find me on my social media. I would love to chat with you more. And yeah, I think that's it.